Well, we're down in one of my biggest food plots, and it's only 1 acre. It's a pretty small plot, but if you remember this food plot from last year, we did beans. We planted beans in May, we fenced them off, we had standing beans all the way throughout the late season, and they did really well. I love beans. They're great for a lot of situations. I mean, they did extremely well for only being an acre with the fence on them. Everything worked in our plans except for actually killing a buck out of this plot. We did kill some does out of this plot. It gave us a lot of hunting opportunities, but the pressure was just way too much on this plot. We were always down here checking the electricity on the fence, checking trail cameras, or keeping you guys up to date on the project, and it was just a lot of pressure. So this year we have a little bit different plans. We're actually going to plant this in a clover field, white clover. We came through, we bush hogged all these beans down. We're going to come back through today, and we're going to take glyphosate and burn up all the new growth, all these weeds. And the next step is going to go ahead and spray DeerGro. We got a jug of 1 acre jug of Plot Start that we're going to spray. And if you remember from last year, we sprayed Plot Start over this plot, and it did really well. The beans got up about 5 feet tall, and we didn't do any lime, and we didn't do any fertilizer. So with the Plot Start sprayed last year, with the beans, adding organic matter and adding nitrogen in the soil, and spraying Plot Start again, we should have a really excellent base for our clover seed. Again, we're going to go ahead and burn all these weeds up. We're going to go ahead and spray the Plot Start, and then in a couple of days we got a pretty good rainstorm coming in, so we're going to spread our clover out. But that should give us enough time for our early May turkey season. So hopefully we do a little bit of turkey hunting in here, but it should be a heck of a lot better food plot for deer. Just letting them come in here in spring, in the summer, letting them get comfortable in it. Staying out of here, we're going to keep you up to date on the project, but we're going to stay out of here. And we're going to try to make this a little bit micro hunting area. We've got a couple of projects that we're going to do right next to this field or on this food plot. Some of our stands where we're going to hang them, as well as giving the deer some other things that they might like in this food plot, but that's for a later date. So keep up to date with this project, but for the time being, we're going to spray some glyphosate, we're going to spray some DeerGro, some Plot Start, and we're going to plant our clover seed here soon. Well, we are in the middle of April, and I wanted to stop and take a minute today to talk about step 2 of our small food plot process here. And step 2 would be planting, first picking the species of which to plant in this small food plot, and then actually planting. We've had a couple of good rains. A couple days ago we went through here and broadcasted our clover in. The weeds are dying down. We had a good rain. The clover seeds set in, especially where these beans are laying down, and we should have germination coming up pretty rapidly here. But really I want to talk about the 3 reasons of why I am choosing white clover and just white clover alone in this food plot this year. I already talked about why, I'm not going with beans again this year. All my problems that I had with beans last year, not really all the problems I had, I did like them, but why I just am choosing white clover over beans this year for this particular food plot. But the first reason would be the upcoming turkey season. We've been scouting pretty heavily. We've had a good time strutting and stuff with some hens up in the upper hay field, this food plot, and the upper food plot that does have some established clover in it. So we just really wanted a nice clover plot to hunt over come turkey season. We still have a couple weeks yet, so hopefully we have a little bit established so we can hunt this field. We've got a ton of trail cameras around this field already picking up some action, so that's going to be a great benefit of having clover in this food plot. The second reason is it's very easy to establish. Like I said, we just burnt the weeds down, we broadcasted, we had some rain, and now the seed is sitting in. Had good seed to soil contact, so it should be coming up here pretty fast. But it's very easy to maintain, and a lot of guys go wrong with this step because they like to put mixtures in. They always hear that mixtures do very well, especially when it comes to deer hunting, with different species taking over at different times. But that's really not the case with small food plots, and I really like to keep saying this and reiterating this. I like just pure white clover food plots because I can easily maintain them with 2 herbicides. I can maintain my grass selective herbicides, clethodim or sethoxidin, and kill all my grass species without harming my clover. Or I can use 2,4-DB for Butarac and kill all my broadleaf species but not harm my clover. And I really couldn't do that if I would throw in species that are popular in a clover mix like chicory or wheat. It would definitely restrict the herbicide use that I have. But with those two herbicides, I come through, spray a couple times, and I have a great stand of pure clover, you know, through spring, summer, and into fall. And it's not a headache. I can come down here and get out here, and again, that comes back to taking the pressure off this plot and not doing as much pressure as we did when we had beans. Now the third set of reasons why I really like white clover, and really just pure white clover, is that it's basically the king of small food plots. Again, it's easy to maintain, it's easy to establish in this plot, but it's shade tolerant, so it can handle those small food plots in the woods, those small clearings. This not really the case for this food plot, but it does very well with a lot of browse pressure, and it's extremely attractive to deer. Deer can come in here and mow it all day long, and there's still going to be food for basically the entire year. There's still clover, you know, in the beginning of November. It's not the late season food source, but we tried the late season food source and it didn't do very well on this property because there's not a bigger established late season food source near this property. We tried to do it with the beans, but it just seems like putting our time into clover, into the early season, mid-season kind of attractant will do far better. Not to mention giving them the protein benefits of the clover through spring and through summer. So those are my three reasons that I'm really picking white clover this year, and this is the step 2 in the process, is deciding what you want to plant in your small food plot and actually going ahead and planting it. Now step 3 will be the next video, and I'm going to talk about particular ways we can increase the attractiveness of this plot with some small projects, as well as monitor this food plot, and eventually kind of talk about how we're going to hunt this plot and some different projects that go along with small food plots that you can do on your property, especially small hunting property. So this is step 2. Step 3 will be coming up. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna go keep checking on this plot and keep you up to date. Well, it's late April here, and we're stopping to take a minute today here in southern Indiana to talk about our small food plots. Now this is part 3 of our big series on small food plots. Parts 1 and 2, if you guys remember from those videos, was talking about why we're planting what we're planting this year in our food plots, and what species actually has all the characteristics that we really want out of these small food plots, which end up being kill plots for most of us. And again, the species of our choice was white clover. Now today I'm talking about basically one of the final installments on this series about how to maintain these clover plots, and that's really honestly the reason why we do plant white clover. Now to maintain these, a lot of people mow. Mowing clover to increase stolen and runner production, to maintain annual broadleaf species, not really the grass species, but it does maintain, and honestly it's just like mowing your grass. It makes people feel better. And that's half the reason why they mow it. They just want to be out there and they want to start taking care of their property or their land. But today we're going to be talking about the herbicides and some other things that go along with these food plots and maintaining them. And the big two is that we need to control is grass species and broadleaf species. Now we have 2 herbicides here that do just that. We have clethodim, which is basically your grass selective herbicide. Basically, post, select, arrest, those are the common names behind the grass selective herbicides. It's either sethoxydim or clethodim in those sprays. So this is our grass selective herbicides. It'll control all your grass species. It won't harm your clover. It won't harm actually broadleaf species. So for the broadleaf species, we need something that will kill broadleaves but will not kill clover. And for that, we turn to Butirac, 2,4-D butyric acid actually. So Butirac 200, I think there's Butirac 175, but basically they control legumes. You can use them on soybeans, peanuts, alfalfa, and clover is also a legume. So we do have alfalfa in here, so it will help also to control the weeds in this alfalfa and clover plot. But that will kill all of our broadleaf species. Again, it won't harm our clover. So with basically one punch, or with 2 herbicides, we can actually go ahead and kill all grass species, all broadleaf species, and leave basically just our clover, which is what we want to do. We're not mowing this plot down, so the clover is not getting set back the deer can come in here and mow it just fine. I mean, they're some of our best lawn mowers. They come in, they're eating all this clover, and that's already increasing the stolen runner production. As far as the weeds go, we're going to kill them with our herbicides. So we're not decreasing the biomass here, we're not decreasing the amount of food on this plot. All we're doing is taking away the weeds and helping the clover develop better. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about with herbicides and maintaining these clover plots is a product from DeerGro, and it's called PlotBoost, and this can actually be directly mixed in to our herbicides. Really, we use it for our soybean applications. We put it in with Roundup or glyphosate to spray our Roundup Ready beans, and what it does is fight yield drag. But we can also mix it with these herbicides for these small clover plots. So we're not only killing back all the weeds in this plot, but we're going to add PlotBoost, and we're going to go ahead and boost all of this clover plot up and deal with the individual plant health. We sprayed Plot Start when we originally started this plot, but we're boosting it now. We're going to get it a little bit better, increase water uptake, increase nutrient uptake, that the Plot Start made available before summer hits and before we get some dry weather. We got plenty of rain coming in. It actually rained earlier today, but that's how we maintain our clover plots. That's how we're going to boost them up before the summer, and we're probably going to have to come back through and maintain them a little bit more in late summer, early fall. And there's also some other things that we're going to put onto another video on how to make these kind of plots a little bit more attractive, and some stuff that you might want to think about on your small property.